read off chat. Okay?
Okay.
I couldn't get your clip.
Oh, okay.
Hi, doing backstage stuff. Hi, I want everyone to meet Brian Kilpatrick, and he is. Can I tell him where you live? It's kind of
Uh,
obvious if they go to your
yeah.
website.
Yeah.
He lives in Shasta, and you can't miss it because he's got the most gorgeous pictures from Shasta up there. Um, and I'm going to start today again with a thought for today. And the thought for the day is I have the right to live my life to its fullest. That's for each and every one of us today to realize that's true. And hi, Skywalking with Moon, and um, Miriam is here, and Engla, and Dina Rocco, and Dream Journey One. And that's about as much name checking as I can do and run a show, guys. Sorry about that. As I told Ryan, I posted up that we wanted to, uh, that we were going to answer questions, and these are the questions we got. And this is the first one. If you have a question, put it in bold, in caps. Um, I guess it's caps, not bold, but put it in caps, and we'll answer it. Now, this question's from Annette, and she was the first one in the chat today. I want you to know. Are elementals everywhere or just in sacred places? I'm going to let you answer that because you go out in the woods looking for more.
Hi, Annette. Elementals are pretty much, they can be everywhere. So tree spirits, from my knowing, tree spirits are usually by people's homes. They're on sidewalks. They're on hiking trails. So they can be everywhere. And people have seen fairies at their homes. So I would have to say, and in truth, every place is a sacred place.
It's true. It's true. And I have a dragon that comes into my bedroom. I mean, it's lots of fun. Okay, and this is from T. Jones. My sister believes that trees cry out in pain. Do they?
Actually, I do have an experience to answer this question for you. So I personally cannot hear tree spirits. I feel tree spirits. And when I was working at Strawberry Valley Inn, I had several people that some could hear the tree spirits, and we had an oak tree and we had a pine tree. And I felt like the pine tree was more masculine, the oak tree was more feminine, and that her bottom root system was rotting out, and she was actually crying in pain because it was getting to be too energetically heavy, keeping the tall branches balanced. And that the pine tree actually was energetically supporting her to keep her standing upright.
Cool. Okay, and then Margaret says, do elementals work with ETs to heal the earth from mankind's damage?
Margaret, so from my knowing is tree spirits, they're in many ways, they're like portals. So these portals, they can go to certain star being groups. They can go to certain dimensions. I feel that certain tree spirits are connected to sometimes the seventh dimension, ascended master realm. So I feel that like the dolphins and the whales are projections from the Syrians. So everything's a projection of consciousness. And I do feel that many extraterrestrials are projecting into this realm, and it can be the elementals. And they do work through trees. But more importantly, each of us, we are trees of light, the ones that of us that are awake, and that we are if we're bringing in with intention to bring in the highest light possible and grounding it into the earth, then we also are helping that process in a big way.
Okay. And this is the last of the questions that came through the comments. Why do the elementals need us to heal the earth?
Because that is part of our purpose, is to heal the earth. However, Mother Earth, I think Mother Earth is healing herself. I think she's more powerful than us humans actually believe. And I think that is actually a mirror of how we kind of see ourselves as less than, or not as powerful, that we can heal ourselves. So I feel Mother Earth, Gaia, some people call her Sophia, she is a powerful being, and she knows she's a powerful being. And so I feel she does regenerate a lot of her energies. And as we keep moving forward, she will not, the energies will not allow the lower, denser energies to be here.
Yes. I've always been so grateful that Gaia didn't think we were fleas and just take a good shake and that'd be the end of us.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So now I'm going to have a chance to just sort of talk to Brian, and I'm watching for questions. And Brian has a channel, which is all in the description below, all the ways to reach him, to find him. He has a very nice YouTube site where he's gone out, and I think it's what you do on your day off, isn't it, Guy? You go out and but he does have a really awesome, and none of them are very long. I think the one that how to you find if a tree's a portal or not is like all of 7 minutes. So he's get you in the subject, get you out, not burying you with trivia.
Thank you.
Okay. And did you want to explain how you can test for the tree to be a portal?
Sure. So many people, they immediately go to touch the tree. And I feel like that's using like our five senses. And so how I I don't even know if anyone taught me this. There's different ways there's some lengthy ways to connect with tree spirits that people are teaching. I basically have people stand like maybe about a foot away from the tree or so. And I have them close their eyes and focus on their breath. And then I have to just feel into this. And then just to become aware of their body and the energies. And usually, from my knowing, that if it is a powerful tree spirit, because not all trees have a powerful tree spirit in them, kind of like there's certain humans that are more turned on and lit up than others. And so I have found that if your body starts to get pulled inward to a certain tree, that is a tree spirit that wants to work with you and is open to working with you. I didn't know if maybe that was like a vortex energy of getting pulled in would be more of a feminine energy, like a feminine portal. And then when I would walk up to a tree and I would go backwards, to me, that was, I just wasn't meant to work with that tree. But I also didn't know if that was showing me that that was more of a electric masculine portal. However, I just went to Fairy Falls yesterday, and I walked up to certain trees in the forest, and I feel that most trees in a forest tend to be a collective energy. And so by people's homes and like places like Peace Garden and Mount Shasta, uh, there's specific spirits that have decided to be in those trees because uh, they know the masses, more people are coming by them. And so when they walk through, they can feel that auric feeling of the tree spirit. So anyway, I've taught people to just see if your body gets pulled inward to the tree, and yeah, I think that's pretty much.
Okay. Okay. And then we did have a question come up in the chat. I seem to feel the need to apologize to my trees when I cut branches. Does this hurt them?
Well, I'm not fully sure about that. I mean, some people will say, like, all vegetables, that when we, cut something, they feel the pain. I feel like if you feel the need to apologize, you're already kind of energetically letting them know that you're thinking of them,
Mm-hmm.
and that you pray that you're not hurting them. So I feel like they probably aren't that upset, like, or being hurt.
Well, I bought a house once and it was surrounded by these huge old trees that no one had taken care of. And as a consequence of that, trees can suffocate from not having enough wind, be able to get through all the branches. And this particular tree, it had a wisteria vine, which is, if you see them normally, they're lovely. They're kind of like look like waterfall plants. Well, this one grew out of the tree. Tarzan could have swung on this sucker. I mean, nothing had been taken care of in this tree. So we hired some tree guys because it was immediately over the roof of the house I just bought. We got it cleared out. And when I was talking to the guy who runs the company, he said, you think of it like a haircut because it sort of helps you reshape. And he said, it will help these trees live longer. He said, all the trees on this street really should be cleared out. Well, a year later, we had a terrible ice storm. It was Super Bowl weekend. Every single neighbor lost the trees. I mean, they fell over. They were all over the street. The only trees that didn't fall over were mine because the way they were handled was balanced. And I think that also could help the tree. Just saying.
Well, no, that actually feels pretty true. Like, we all get our haircuts. So,
Mm-hmm.
if we were like, oh my God, I don't want to hurt my hair, we would probably not get our haircut.
Now, critters I know feel pain. So, if you go to being a vegan or vegetarian, I think you are pescatarian or whatever you're doing. I think they have grounds for their arguments. But if people start saying you can't chop up carrots, we're going to all look like we've been on keto for our whole life. How do we work with the trees?
To be honest with you, if one isn't clairaudient, and you're just clairsentient where you feel things, okay, good question. So I'm now remembering. So there is one tree at Peace Garden that's right on the road. It's this massive oak tree. And before the couple created the Peace Garden, the Mother Mary Peace Garden, two ladies, I know because the owner told me this, two ladies were driving by this tree and they were like, oh my God, that is such a powerful portal, and they saw a white squirrel, and I feel like that was an interdimensional guardian of that portal, because sometimes chipmunks or squirrels can be guardians. And so I had a tendency to park my car underneath the tree. And when I was overthinking, where I couldn't stop thinking just over and over again, I asked the tree if it could help me, the tree spirit, and literally I felt energy all over me, and it was pulling me down into my heart. And so I would have to say the number one thing for me, from my experience, is what trees do is they help you to come fully into your bodies. And when I worked at Strawberry Valley Inn, there was some two trees in front of the front desk. And when I was quiet, I could feel the energies of the tree spirits coming into my heart. So I would have to say tree spirits, the elementals, are more about helping us to shift more into the right side of the brain, where we can feel life, we can experience life versus thinking life.
Okay, here's another question. It's not a question really. It's, I have a 3-acre farm with lots of trees. When I had a backache, I stood barefoot with my back against the oak. I felt better, stood straighter. It's like nature's chiropractor. Love the trees.
Most definitely. And they've done studies that shows people with trees, around trees, lowers blood pressure, alleviates depression. And that is people that aren't necessarily feeling frequencies coming into them per se. So they are our helpers.
Yes, and this is another one. When I talk to the trees, I hear many whisperings. They discuss many things all at once. When I finish, I feel windswept with peace. Oh, that's cool. Okay, we got another question. And you're not putting them in bolds, guys. That's not going to help me. Curious about electrical elements. Do they exist? So much is written about this element. Not much is written about this element that I can find.
If you're speaking about, do trees have electrical, connections? I would have to say it's all electrical.
It's all energy.
Yeah, it's all. I mean, which I'm sure everyone that's watching this, they've heard or they've read already, that trees actually feed each other, especially the trees that are not doing so well. They actually will send nutrients to that tree. And then even certain trees that have been cut down, they will also send still energy or nutrients to those tree stumps. And I actually, on the trail I was walking with yesterday, so a while ago, like a year ago, I went with my friend Corey, who can see, hear, and so forth. And she saw this being that appeared behind a tree, and it was very interesting because then she went into light language, and then she put her hands on my shoulders, and that being said everything would be okay. But anyway, there was 2 tree stumps, and Corey was telling me that one of those tree stumps was a portal. And I actually went to that tree stump yesterday, and I could feel energy in my body would be pulled inward. And versus I would stop on the pathway, and I would just as a test would walk up to any tree that was fully alive, and my body didn't get pulled in. It just went backwards. So sometimes even if a tree is no longer like fully, it was cut down or it died, I feel like that is still a portal of that's going somewhere.
Okay. This, I think this is kind of a clarification. Are there electrical elements? In other words, I think I kind of know an answer for this one. And how can I learn more about these elements, please? I think she's talking about earth energetics, and she might be talking. The only thing I can think of that might seem to be like an electrical element is
Like a grounding, like the earth frequency?
yes, like, well, it's like some kind of charge that goes through the earth, because the way we look at it when you're talking about um, dowsing for ley lines or those kind of energetics,
Yeah.
but they're energetics. But I'm thinking among the elementals, when you're thinking about the critter and creatures from myths, I would think the closest thing to electrical elements. Well, Thor supposedly sent us lightning, and that was a being that was carting that stuff around. Um, but the other one might be the fiery salamander, because it it can't be burnt out with fire. It just kind of walks through whatever happens to it in myths. So um, there's the best way to get kind of an overview is, and I looked it up and it's still out there, but it's an anthology it's like a anthology of all the myths of the world, and you kind of read through them and you see what characteristics the humans were describing for the different beings. Okay, does that I just except for the gods that send lightning, that used to be um, my second husband was a physicist and a theoretical mathematician, and he used to always say that people used to say, "Why are you hanging around with a woman who reads cards?" You know, not the sort of thing polite elderly Englishmen did. And he said, "Well, they're going to figure out how this all ties together." He always thought it was in the quantum mechanics, which is really the truth. It's where all this stuff comes from. And he used to, people say, "Well, it's so silly." And he said, "No, look, people used to say that lightning was something that was paranormal, outside of our ability to do anything about it." And he said, eventually, and they talk about Thor and all the gods that were shooting bolts at each other and doing things. And he said, but ultimately, when we began to understand the principles of electricity, those gods kind of went away, because now we were the gods running the electricity. And I think I think there's just a lot of ways we don't really truly understand how to use all the energies around us. Okay, here's another one. What can we do for the trees?
Actually, thank you, Gail. Actually, I want to explain, share of my first, I think it was my first experience. So my friend Dwayne in Sedona, he had me walk up to a cotton tree, and he said it needs help healing. And so he had me place my hands on the tree, and there was no wind in the air, and he saw it. I didn't see it. And he said, when I was sending energy, because he can see and hear and everything, he said, when I was, the energy that was coming through me that was going to the tree, it actually, it moved its leaves, and it was a really tall tree. So the leaves actually shook, kind of letting me, as a way of thanking me. So I would have to say, if you come across a certain tree, we can actually channel healing light to trees that we feel may need it.
Okay, I have a question here that it's Dr. Gale. Bye, Dr. Gale. I don't know what this is, and I just Googled it, and Google doesn't know either.
What is your take on it? I'm sorry, actually, do not know what that is either.
Yeah, I don't know if it's not spelled right, and I just checked my spelling. What I got when I went to Google was a bunch of taco stores. So no idea. Sorry.
He may be able to tell us more.
Yeah, if you could tell us sort of where that comes from. And then we got another Dr. Gale question. She's going to keep us busy today.
Where is my favorite tree? I would have to say my favorite tree is in front of Peace Garden on the road, the oak tree.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if I got it correctly, but I think that tree is connected to the Ascended Master realm. And that tree has been very kind and loving to me, and very helpful. However, there is a tree in Panther Meadows that also has taken me into kind of a blissful love. And then there's been trees. There were several in Florida at a Unity Church in Venice, Florida, that actually one of the trees took me into a Kundalini experience, which is really an electrical experience.
Okay. This is the answer to the thing. And it's a cactus, but I just Googled it. And,
Okay.
that looks like a tree. Those.
Yeah. So I would have to say, again, these are portals. So there can be cacti that are portals also. And so they would be similar to tree spirits.
Mm-hmm.
Comes in all sizes, shapes, and forms. So
Yeah, if you live where I live in Texas, we don't have any giant trees. Not where in the area I'm in. You go over about 40 miles and hit the big thicket, and there's big trees over there.
right. So I mean, portals can be, as you probably all well know, portals can be completely without anything. It can be in your home. We are portals of light. If we open everything up, we are the portals. So I would have to say it's designed so that these portals that people can actually, they can help people come fully into their bodies and also open up their higher connections.
Yes. And this I do know about. There are certain crystals that if you smash them together, they create an electricity and the scientists aren't really sure why. And the ones that I know of are quartz, fluorites, and diamonds. And I don't know who's going to go whacking diamonds together to make them glow, but I actually have seen on YouTube a sample where they were throwing the crystals into boxes, and the light goes through it. It hits where it hits, and then it goes through the crystal. And our scientists working on that right now, trying to figure out how to make that work.
Well, I mean, that's actually what structured water is when you have two quartz point crystals, and if they keep moving and connecting, hitting each other in the water, it creates a higher frequency of water by its interaction with each other. So
yeah, Brian spends a lot more times out in the woods than I do. I want to tell y'all, because he lives in a place where it's fun to go look at that stuff. And the way I think, okay, here's one. Can you explain more about the portals and how you're using them?
Okay. Let's see. To be honest with you, my past 20 years, especially in Sedona, I would sit for hours and days and months and weeks, just allowing myself to be a clear and open channel to bring in the highest frequency of light and plant it into the earth. because I had been given information by different people that I was bringing in frequencies to shift the paradigm. So um, I I just do my very best to uh, be an open channel. And when I've gone to certain tree spirits or on the mountain of connecting with the Lumerians and different places, my intention is for that light to completely surrender to the absolute creator, the core of creation. That's my intention. So I guess that's what I personally am utilizing them for, to completely shift out of the left brain and more fully into my heart. And my first experience of not the cotton tree, but it was after my mom had passed in 2015, and it's on the Boynton Canyon Vortex Trail. If anyone's gone to Sedona, that is a vortex that is a balance between the masculine and the feminine. And there was this skinny tree on the trail, and something made me walk up to it. And I was overthinking that day. And all of a sudden, I felt this complete embrace, energetic embrace, and I felt all this love. And that was the first time that I ever experienced that from a tree. And I was like, oh my God, that I couldn't believe, people would tell me over the years, Brian, you need to ground with the trees. And I walk up to a tree and I'd be like, I don't feel anything. I just wasn't ready for it. And a lot of times I've shown people to connect with trees or Kuan Yin at the shop that I work at, because there's a portal of Kuan Yin in the shop that I work at. And most people, they walk up to these things, or Mother Mary statue in the Peace Garden, who came alive to me one day, turned into light, and I saw real skin and real eyes. Most people, we don't, if we're too much in the thinking, we give it maybe a couple minutes, and that's not enough time. So with this one tree, it was on the trail, and I had all these people walking past me, and they were looking at me. And I have been trying to overcome being self-conscious for, my whole entire life. And I said to myself, I said, well, if they knew what I was experiencing, they would all be joining me right now. And so what I really wanted to share with you is when I walked away from that tree for the first time in my life, I feel like it was really the first time in my life. I felt fully in my feet, fully in my shoes, and I walked so slowly after I was with that tree spirit, and I was looking at everything with different eyes. And so I would have to say the number one thing is, if you are trying to get out of overthinking, and you're not fully in your heart, you're not fully at peace, that is what you can be using the tree spirit portals for.
Okay, I have one other person that when I told him I was doing a show on the portals, she uses it to go to open herself up for the Akashic records.
Oh, okay.
I think there's a lot of, you guys, it's not that there's like the thing you have to do or the place you have to be to feel it. We're just trying to open up our minds to it. Anyone can talk to a tree, but only some of us are blessed by hearing them, right?
Yes. And something, I have been told I have all the clairs, meaning clairvoyance, clairaudience, claircognizance. And maybe in a previous lifetime, some of us, we've had all those clairs. However, in this lifetime, many of us, we've chosen to come back to really birth the feminine energy of feeling and experiencing life. And so so my what I would like to say to whoever's hearing this is, don't beat yourself up, which I have done so many times. Oh, why can't I hear, or why can't I see clairvoyantly what the tree looks like? Uh, is Some of us, we chose in this lifetime to feel everything from our hearts versus seeing and hearing. So our hearing and our seeing can be done through our feeling or our knowing.
Okay, and here's one more for the cactus. Let's see.
Okay.
Well, it's a true. I know this is true because when I was in Arizona, I was told this. It's a place where animals can go and hide in times of great struggle because they're aren't they sort of hollow in the middle, like cactuses are?
They would know that more so than me.
Okay, well, okay. I think we've got some more tree questions. Back to the why we're here. Thank you. Someone. Oh, here's a good one. And you and I can talk about this. He knows a lot about crystals too, so we had a fun conversation last night about this.
Okay. Actually, hello. I actually am living in Dunsmuir, which is 10 minutes south of Mount Shasta, but I did live in Sedona for 10 and a half years. I didn't work at Crystal Magic. I worked at Mystical Bazaar and Sedona Crystal Vortex and Crystal Enlightenment and Peace something. So you used to work at Flagstaff location. Yeah, that's a really nice crystal store.
Yes, well, he and I were discussing crystals. Y'all have such incredible names for your crystal stores. I shop at the Rock Barrel. You know, what can I say?
Which Nancy, do you can I share, or have you already shared with about smoky quartz?
No, I haven't talked about it. I have a piece, but you can talk about it, and I'll get my pretty piece.
So I have been doing this since we're talking about grounding and coming fully into our bodies, and how tree spirits can do that for us. The one crystal that I have done this for hundreds of people that don't even feel crystals or believe in crystals is I place a big piece of smoky quartz at the base of their feet. And many people feel very calm afterwards. A couple of big men felt something got lifted off their shoulders. A weight got lifted off their shoulders. One lady had no thoughts at all, and she definitely bought that cluster crystal smoky quartz, which I was like, oh, could I have that one? And then one lady had back pain, and it actually really bad back pain, and went away in 5 minutes. So a lot of times, so smoky quartz helps you come fully into your body, and it also pulls out old energies when you ask it to do so. So if you're sick or trying to get over some type of sickness, especially any type of sickness, get 2 big pieces of smoky quartz or 1 big piece of smoky quartz and lay down, place it at the base of your feet, and allow it to pull out of you old energies, and then also cleanse it, because one lady who did with a rose quartz heart, she didn't cleanse it after releasing sadness and heartache, and she put it on her altar, and it shattered into a whole bunch of pieces. So can't say enough about smoky quartz.
Okay, well, I'm going to show them some smoky quartz. We're going to get and a string. There it is. This is a geode that's smoky quartz.
Oh, that's geode. I've never seen one like that. Wow.
Yeah, and it's got some clear quartz even in it and stuff. But yeah, there's a guy who, and when they have the rock show here and the crystal show here in Dallas, he has buy a geode, and you come pick it, and it's a whole geode, and he cracks them while you're there
Oh,
with the one
lovely.
you pick.
Lovely.
And this is the oldest crystal that I own. It's smoky and white. And my friend who told me I needed to buy it from her, she was a fabricator who did things with made jewelry and stuff with crystals. But she snatched this one up. She said, "You need this one. It's got a gorgeous point on the top." Which, if you study crystals anytime at all, you'll find out all about points. And this is also a smoky crystal. Is this the sort of size you'd use for your feet?
I mean, it can be smaller.
Could it be as small as this point? Okay, he went away.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay,
So
no,
it could be
okay. Then
like
that's equal to this one.
or it could be like this, or it can even be a little tumbled stone, because people can still sometimes feel the frequency vibration in their feet when that's happening. I even did this for my godmother, and she could feel tingling in her hands, and she's 87 years old.
Cool.
So, and she was always a thinker, still is. So smoky quartz is just an amazing grounding and clearing stone.
This is another reader who said, "I'm listening in the background. Wow, I'm interested in everything you're saying. I feel like a sponge just trying to soak up all the information." And that's why I was on him last night, that he needs to add more things to his channel. He's got like trees and spirits. He also has, is that Fairy Falls that you have, the waterfall that you have the
yes, and actually I finally, because I wanted to film it, I actually finally did a little video of going to Fairy Falls, and I'm going to post it today. So, and I don't know if I'm going to end up leaving the last part, because I tried to take the phone with me into the falls. And I like to do these things for people that cannot maybe get to Mount Shasta, or are, physically not able to get to these places, because then they can energetically experience it. Yeah, and I've had several experiences with the Lemurians that I talk about.
Okay. And then this Miriam had the experience as a single mom of just going out and hugging a big old cottonwood tree in front of her house. And she still carries some warmth and comfort from that till now.
Oh, lovely.
So
a man who, I don't think I said this to you, a man who actually stayed at the Strawberry Valley Inn, he could hear trees. And he said when he was, I want to say he went back to the Czech Republic where he was born and raised, and either a tree or a group of trees spoke to him and said, "We can help you clear your ancestral lineages."
Oh, cool.
So going back to the questions about how do you utilize the portals, is some of it is maybe if you know how to feel what the answer is to see if the tree will help you with certain situations, because they can be all different. Again, they could be connected to certain star families, or they can be connected to maybe the angelic realm of the archangels, or they could be connected to the ascended masters.
Okay. And then I brought smoky quartz, and I wanted to have it under my pillow. That would be fine. I think my feeling about having lots of points in your bedroom is they can drive you to overthink, or drive you to drink so you don't overthink. But you might want to find something that's more in the tumbled. And there's some stuff that's tumbled. That's really.
So I did tell a friend of mine who overthinks a lot about smoky quartz, and she actually bought a sphere a round sphere of smoky quartz, and she told me she sleeps with it every night.
Yeah, that would.
And she shares a bed with her husband too.
Oh, good. Well, that's. And I
She didn't.
bet she doesn't mess with her, honey. I'm going to sleep, and here's my rock. Okay, how do you cleanse them?
Well, I mean, I'm sure you.
Oh, I know. I mean, but I'm going to let them talk to you, the experts, so they'll
Okay.
forget about me.
Okay. So, so like when I actually, am doing the smoky quartz for people in the shop, afterwards I go and I just run the quartz under the water. I also, you can invoke the violet flame to clear it. You can invoke the white ray of light, the golden ray of light to clear it. You can place it in a bowl of water overnight. Some people will put sea salt. However, with certain fancy crystals and the sheen, maybe not smoky quartz, but other stones that can take away from the sheen of the crystal over time. And actually, a lady, speaking about if trees can feel pain, a lady came in. I'm not sure if she was projecting something onto the quartz cluster crystal, but she said that when she was soaking it in sea salt, it was screaming at her.
Well, I've talked about cleansing. I use smoke, I'll use sound. You can just clap several times with the intention of, kind of moving the energy on. I really kind of try to advise people against soaking because there are so many minerals that don't really do well with water, and it's always a selenite. I had a woman who,
definitely,
because I mean, you got to know your Mohs factors and stuff. So if you want to avoid that, there's another way you can clean your crystals. You can bury them in rice, and that will help clean them up. And when you do that, you can't eat the rice. You have to throw the rice away because the element in the rice.
Yeah.
And so those were suggestions. I will wash this guy, this real pretty one. My daughter found this for me in New York.
Oh,
and,
wow.
It's got light and dark, and it's really kind of a fun thing. But I will wash it because it gets so dusty. But if you have a little singing bowl, you can do singing bowl all around it, and that'll clear them out too. And that way, you for sure you're not going to be damaging the crystal. Brian, tell them your YouTube channel. They want to know.
Expansiveness of Light.
So now you all are going to have to go to what's written below so you can. It's like me with my crystal directions with an S on the directions. Okay.
Which actually some people think it's expansiveness of flight, which is actually kind of true.
Yeah, it is.
You expand with the light, you fly again while still living a human experience. So
okay, she wanted. This is a question. Do you know pink heart healing?
Are we talking a specific healing, or are we talking a stone that can help with heart healing? If you're speaking about a crystal that can help with heart healing, rose quartz is the standard one.
That's a piece of pooled rose quartz, and rose quartz doesn't always, because what makes it red, the things that make quartz different colors are different minerals, and they also kind of screw up their molecular structure. So you're not often going to find a rose quartz with a point on it. It tends to have grown up in the volcanoes in pools like that, and that's a big one. But
so I personally, so I feel like a higher frequency of a pink heart healing stone is kunzite. Kunzite is extremely powerful for healing. I would have to say also the inner child, but also rhodochrosite is like the number one inner child healing stone. And then morganite. Morganite is lovely. Morganite. I used to play the alchemical singing bowls, crystal tones, and morganite is just, it's. I can't even say what. Yeah, it's just lovely.
And Brian and I both thank you, Spirit Watcher.
Oh my God! Thank you so much.
Oh yes, yes. And let's see. And I really thank you, because we don't have to. I mean, you don't have to give, but it's appreciated. Libra lady bought a tumbled smoky quartz for under her pillow. Smart woman. And somebody's got smoky quartz eggs. Oh, would you put your crystals in a freezer?
No.
No. No, I think, that's why buildings and sidewalks don't last long up in Yankee land, because it's cold. Okay.
I also don't, I think also kind of like plants, if you think about plants don't like, really cold water. They prefer temperate water. Is like same with crystals. I think, like, if you think about, everything is consciousness, how would we, well, actually, but cold showers are really, they may be hard at first, but they're also invigorating too. So, I mean,
well, I don't do those either. Does sage work? Yes. Yes, sage works really well. And a proviso, Earth Mama, on sunlight. Don't do it don't do it with your amethysts. Don't do it with your colored crystals.
Correct.
Don't put rose quartz out in the sun. It does fade it out. And there's a beautiful Nature's Wonders. It's a rock store in Austin, and they have a chunk of rose quartz that's so big. I know why it's sitting outside, because they couldn't get it in the doors. But you can see where the sun hits it, and they've kind of built a roof out, but you can see where the sun gets past that.
Also, to when you have clear quartz, if the sun inside your home, but also outside, it can actually start a fire. So I actually, because I like to do displays at the crystal store I work at, which is called the Sacred Well in Dunsmuir, is I put some clear quartz, and I had a little box of soap, I think in front of it or behind it or something. And I walked over and I saw this like little faint thing of smoke rising, and I was like, "Where's that coming from?" And lo and behold, the sunlight through the quartz was burning a hole in the box of the soap.
Very good. There's the name of his website. Dr. Gale put it in.
You're so sweet, Gail. Thank you. Thank you.
And
the other thing is, some people say that selenite actually doesn't need to be cleansed or cleared, and you can place crystals on the selenite to clear.
And it'll zoop it up. Yeah. Okay. So, dears, we are right almost at an hour. If you can type real fast, you can get a question in. But I just want to thank Brian for coming and talking with all this stuff. It's so much fun to talk about spirits. Oh, one thing before we do go. I found a book, and this is, it's called Dowsing the Journey Beyond Your Five Senses. And it's about working with earth energies. And it's by a guy named Hamish Miller. He is now deceased. The book's like this big, right? Anybody can read this book. You will learn kind of the total basics you need about ley lines and earth energies and things in this. Not all about the elementals, but about that. And because now this book, this book, and I'm going to read you the title, Natural History of Life and Death, question mark. WTF is really going on here. Everything you really need to know right now about the Earth's natural subtle energy fields and how to work with it. And then he's got the word apocalypse, Greek, ancient Greek definition, a disclosure of hidden knowledge, lifting of the veil, revelation. It's called Emergence Beyond, book number 2. There's a 1. That's what amazed me. There's a 1. I'll put the dowsing. Guys, I have tried to read this, and what I'll do is I'll occasionally throw open a page because I don't think there's reading it in order would help. I used to be a reader. I'm not. I will type in the comments. Chatter on here, Brian, while I do my other work here.
The other thing, if the people watching this aren't aware of, you can, if you get aligned and clear enough, you can sometimes use your body clearly as a pendulum itself. So that's sometimes how I find crystals for people that come into the shop is I get clear, and then if my body goes into in forward, that's yes, and backwards is a no for me.
Yes.
So.
And you just have to practice and try. Okay, here it comes. The name of the dowsing book, that's the one I think you want to read. Now, I'm not typing that other title. Oh, here's a question, and then this will be the last one we do. Which is better to have, raw or tumbled crystals?
It's whatever you prefer.
Yep. I have raw crystals that I throw in my oracle garden because if you try to throw tumbled ones in, they just go all over the house. So there's a reason for each one. But, and some stones just don't show unless they're tumbled. You know?
People, I find, because citrine in its natural form looks like smoky quartz, and it's the pretty orange and yellow colors is because it's been, I guess, radiated, and so most people they tend to like the pretty ones versus the ones that may not be all polished and cleaned up.
Yes, and
that's a preference.
I did talk to a woman who she got beautiful granite quartz counters she'd always wanted, and then someone came in with a black light and it was glowing all over. She had to get them super sealed. Apparently the stone yard had not checked them for radiation.
Right.
It's radon. It's actually the radon that's a big problem in Pennsylvania. I think they have a lot of cancer from radon because there's a whole lot of stuff you need to learn about stones, which is why you need to keep coming back to me and to Brian at Expansiveness of Light, his site. And I'm going to put it up here because Sharon's site went to all the trouble to type that in. That's where you can go to his website. And when he's got a gorgeous website. I'm jealous. But he's got a gorgeous website, and then it can link you to his YouTube channel.
And thank you to Daryl Clark in Canada. He was someone I met, and he created it for free for me. So.
Oh, cool. Yeah. And someone has said, and then we really are going to get out of here, guys. If we want to know about, look up Pink Healing Heart on YouTube.
It's a certain.
It's a thing, yeah. It's a thing, but it's hard for us to tell because I have a beautiful little bumblebee jasper heart. I mean, maybe I'm missing that. Maybe I should sit with it and figure out why it's there. Anyway, thank you so much for taking. This is his day off, and he took time to come visit us. I will not be doing a live Thursday or Friday. The next time you'll see me live is with Scott Allen, unless something else happens. I will be on with Scott Allen on Sunday morning. And thank you for all of you for coming. I really appreciate it. Like and share. Go over to Brian's channel and subscribe on his channel and click for notifications so that he can let you know what he's up to. And it's so much fun to have another person that's as weird as I am. And y'all take care. And I really appreciate all your
Very
questions.
much, Nancy Jean, and thank you for everyone that participated and asked questions, because that actually brings me joy when I can be of service. So thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And